Hi. I've often been questioned about why and how emotions create physical problems. Let me explain this relationship, this connection between emotions and physical health, because that's very, very important. You see, the emotional body is made up of our endocrine system, our hormones. It's made up of our heart, it's made up of our gut, and it also is made up of the water element within our body. And therefore, the water element could have two aspects: water release, as in through tears, or when we sneeze and there is a nasal release, or water absorption. So, when there is bloating and we feel uncomfortable, all of these are part of the emotional system. So, bloating and this feeling of discomfort and water retention is a huge indicator that your emotions are a bit out of whack. Now, what happens when we are emotionally distraught or when we are emotionally upset about something, and we may not even realize that this is, playing in our minds? But what takes place is this: universal energy is constantly coming into our system. We are spirit beings, and though we have to do and so we have to do really quite little to bring this energy into us. Of course, the more conscious we are of this energy and the more consciously we bring it into our beings, the greater is the benefit. But even if you don't do anything, this higher consciousness, this prana, this ki, there are different names for it, comes into our systems. Now, as soon as it comes into our systems, the physical body uses this energy in order to prop up and strengthen our immunity system. So we get greater and greater immunity, and we are able to withstand viruses and bacteria, and all of these are going to constantly be in our environment. We are never going to live in a sterile environment. So we aren't going to be free of the influence of bacteria and viruses and germs. We have to ensure that our immune systems are strong. So, this wonderful positive consciousness enters our physical systems, and instantly the body decides, yes, I have fuel for my immunity system, and all that energy is moved towards strengthening your immune system. But if at that point you are emotionally distraught or you are emotionally tense about something and your emotional body is not in balance, of course, your system recognizes this and wants to do everything it can to bring your emotional body into balance again. So, what does it do? When this higher consciousness enters your system, it does not allow it to go to your immunity system. So your immunity system will not be able to use that energy in order to strengthen itself. What will happen is that your system, your energy being, will divert this higher conscious energy towards the emotional body, which is, as I told you, our hormones, the endocrine system, the heart, the gut. all of these that physically get into a state of disturbance when our emotional body is distressed. So, that entire energy that we receive, the entire energy of higher consciousness, is moved towards the emotional body in order to start strengthening it, in order to start getting it into balance. Now, that's a fabulous thing that happens, and it's so automatic. You and I don't have to do anything about it. Our bodies are truly miraculous. So, this consciousness that comes in will set our emotional system right, which, as I said, is wonderful. It's a gift. But if you are constantly stressed, which means there is a constant anger, there is a constant fear, there is a constant anxiety, then even though higher consciousness is attempting to set right that emotional body, because you are in a state of constant emotional unrest of some kind or the other, however much that higher consciousness attempts to set the emotional body right, it's not able to do that because you are giving a 24/7 trigger to the emotional body, which is decentering the emotional body, which is scattering the emotional energies. And so, as long as your emotional body comes back into a state of strength, comes back into a state of balance, your system will not use the higher consciousness in order to prop up, in order to strengthen your immunity system. Now, it's okay if the immunity system does not receive this energy for a day, for 2 days, for 10 days. But if this goes on and your immune system does not receive this higher conscious energy, which is, do not forget, it's fuel. The immune system needs the higher conscious energy as a fuel to constantly keep generating its immune energy, which is going to make you strong. But if it doesn't receive its fuel, naturally, this is not rocket science, you will appreciate that the immune system will soon start weakening because its daily dose of higher consciousness is not being received by it. So initially, when for the first few days, let us say, for the first 2 weeks, let us say, your higher consciousness is being diverted to strengthening and balancing your emotional body, your immune system brings out its reserve forces and is still able to go on because it has this reserve, very much like our cars, right? When we run out of the petrol, the car still has reserve fuel, and we can still go a few miles because of that reserve fuel. But eventually that reserve fuel is also going to run out. And this is exactly what happens with our immune systems. And that is why when over an extended period of time, you and I are in emotional distress, or there is a constant inflow of a negative emotional energy, our systems, in trying to get our emotional bodies into balance again, into health again, deprives the immune system of the fuel that it requires. You know that if your immune system is weak, then any bacteria, any virus, anything small in your environment is definitely going to affect you, and your physical body is going to fall prey to dis-ease, to illness. So take care of your emotional body. And you know, Bach flower remedies are such a simple, effective, vibrational way of maintaining this health of the immune system. Bach flower remedies have remedies for anger, have remedies for fear, have remedies for anxiety, have remedies for loneliness, have remedies for lack of concentration and focus, have remedies for inability to express yourself. You know, there are 38 remedies for 38 very different, very specific emotions. If you want to know more, why don't you email us and let's start a dialogue? Remember, your emotional health is in your hands. No one will invest in your happiness, in your emotional well-being as much as you do. So I hope you're going to stay happy and therefore you're going to stay healthy. Ciao. Take care.